and completely adopt Babylonian culture. They would rapidly expand Babylonian territory to all central and lower Mesopotamia. The Hurrian peoples would join together in the north, forming the powerful Mitanni Empire. In Egypt, local rulers would oust the Hyksos and use their knowledge in chariotry and warfare to expand the Egyptian empire to its greatest extent. For over 200 years, this system of empires was remarkably stable. The great kings of Egypt, Mitanni, Hattusa, and Babylon all corresponded with each other on a regular basis, each referring to each other as brother, intermarrying within each other's families, and sending each other lavish gifts. In the 1390s BC, Assyria became fully independent of the Mitanni, and, together with the Hittites, cannibalized the aging empire as it descended into internal squabbling. The Egyptians, Hittites, Babylonians made economic and military alliances against the growing Assyrian threat. Then came widespread famines and invading peoples from the west, known as the Sea People. The entire Near East went into a dark age of sorts that saw massive population decline. Assyria was the least harmed by this, and took full advantage. The Assyrian king, Tukulti-Ninurta, would conquer Babylon, proclaiming himself king, and after ruling there for a short while, would destroy the city walls and pillage the temples when the people revolted. He would be murdered by his sons, partially because of the sacrilege that outraged many of his own people, who had developed a great kinship and respect for Babylonian culture and religion. In the ensuing Dark Age, Babylon would first be dominated by the Elamites, and then by a long line of weak Mesopotamian dynasties, and sometimes by other Mesopotamian city-states. During this time, a migrating people from the west, known as the Chaldeans, would migrate into the city and become synonymous with its inhabitants. During the Neo-Assyrian Empire, the city was annexed and treated with sacred reverence. However, the Assyrians were almost universally hated throughout their realm because their heavy-handed rule and legendary brutal suppression of any revolt or resistance. After more than 200 years of Assyrian rule, the Babylonians rose in revolt under the king Nabopolassar. He led an army of Babylonians and Medes in a 3-month-long siege of the hated Assyrian capital of Nineveh and utterly destroyed it. His son Nebuchadnezzar was Babylon's longest reigning and most powerful monarch, greatly expanding the empire. He sacked the Hebrew holy city of Jerusalem, bringing back thousands to captivity in Babylon, which had expanded into a massive metropolis with a population as high as 1 million people. A beautiful wall of glazed brick, and many temples, palaces, and public places were built or restored during his reign. Nebuchadnezzar's city, like the world had never seen before, had only 24 years left to reign supreme. His succession was extremely problematic, where 3 kings ruled over the next 6 years, 2 of them being assassinated. Nabonidus, Babylon's last king, seized power in a palace coup. He was not a Chaldean as previous Neo-Babylonian kings had been. He angered the priests and commoners of Babylon by neglecting the city's chief god, Marduk, and elevating the moon god, Sin, to the highest status. The rising Persian Empire in the east was led by Cyrus, who was popular with the population of Babylon, because he vowed to restore the god Marduk to his rightful place. Nabonidus had taken his court to worship the moon in the Arabian desert, while leaving his son, Belshazzar, in charge of the city. The Persians advanced into Mesopotamia, many cities giving up without a fight, and after a brief siege, Babylon was incorporated into the Persian Empire. Or, according to the Cyrus Cylinder, the people threw open the gates of the city, welcoming the Persians as liberators. Under the Persians, Babylon would maintain its position as an important cultural center. However, its political and religious importance gradually eroded. Under Alexander, he was so enthralled with the ancient grandeur of the city that he planned to make it his capital. However, he would not fully realize this goal, and died there at the age of 32 in 323 BC. Under the Seleucid, Parthian, and Sasanian empires, Babylon would continue to depopulate and its importance disintegrate, and its great abandoned buildings were either quarried as building material for newer cities, or simply eroded back into the soil of Mesopotamia, becoming nothing more than the small port on the Euphrates that the Amorites had once made great. This has been Epimetheus. These videos, drawing and editing, do take many hours of my time, and if you would like to help me keep the channel going, I would greatly appreciate any donation to help put back into the channel. It is a labor of love. If you like this video, I think you'll also like my video that I made about the history of Mesopotamia before Babylon. And, as always, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell icon to get notifications every time I create new content.